How's it going, everybody? Want to wish everybody, at least at the time of this recording, a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. For those of you that do celebrate or show any type of response or respect to that, I'm trying to enjoy mine as much as I can. A little bit of a break in between work. Took some time off to spend time with the family. They are out and about doing some stuff today, so I have some time to myself to go through and pretty much just, you know, study what I do best. So one of the things that most of you know by now, if you don't know, I'm studying for service provider, and not just specifically service provider. There's other technologies that kind of have been spun off from there. Layer 2 over layer 3 and things like that. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is on your screen. You should see Notepad++. And what I've done is I've gone through and I've taken a lot of the technologies that are not well covered. And that's, stuff that's been through Cisco Press or covered topic-wise. And I'm trying to gather as much information from as many sources as I can to get a solid understanding as to what the technology is and how it works. So a lot of the stuff, like my friend Nick, he wrote a book, and the book is good. The book is really good. The drawback to the book is it starts you off way ahead of where I'm at. So a lot of that comes into play where I'm not at the level I need to be at with a lot of the technologies in order for me to even consider the book to be a resource right now. The book is too forward looking for me right now. I'm not at that level. So I need to bring myself up to a certain level in order to even use the book as a resource right now. So, and that's like with the advanced layer 3 VPN, multicast VPN, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on right now is just bringing my knowledge level up to the point where I can use the book and stuff like that. His book has been really good for things like Layer 2 VPN, which if you've been following my blog, you would know that the blog I've been putting a lot of effort into it lately. And I've been going through technology after technology and different scenarios and things like that to make sure that I hit the topics that need to be hit. And I do them, I give you a little history and a little bit of background, some theory behind it and kind of the why you would use it type stuff, the who, what, where, why, when, how, that type of stuff. And then I'm able to bridge that over into okay, here's what we're actually going to do. Give you like a 1 or 2 paragraph synopsis or blurb of what we're going to be doing in the blog post. So you get 3 or 4, 5 paragraphs of some filler information to help you understand what it is that I'm configuring, and then I actually go through with the configuration and then show you the verification afterwards. So it's very workbook-like, which is kind of the point of it. It's me taking what I've learned and I'm putting it into a blog post, and I can share that information with everybody. So the blog has been very successful. It's been very helpful for me because I'm going through stuff and I'm like, well, wait a minute, just because I get it, I feel like I always need to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper, because people are going to ask questions. So that actually brought up a lot of questions that I was having, and what I would use for different technologies, different design use cases, things like that. Because at the end of the day, the majority of what I do for a living is design work. I'm having to learn a technology and then learn where it's going to fit in a network, whether it's service provider or customer or what have you. That's pretty much the name of my game. And so a lot of what I'm doing now is preparing for the service provider written exam, and unfortunately, there's no blueprint for that. My friend Nick, his book is good, but a lot of that stuff requires you to understand the technology already. And like I said, a lot of that stuff I don't know it yet. So if you're at the SB written level already and you want to dive into lab, and you decide to go spend a block of time learning all the technologies to pass the written. Now you've passed the written. Now you're into your lab preparation, and you decide to go that route. That's one method for approaching a CCIE. My approach is a little bit different. That's how I did RNS. For service provider, I am spending a significant amount of time going through the written topics and the lab topics. So I'm labbing as I'm learning, and that's where all these blog posts are coming from. If you notice, the blog posts are geared to different scenarios, I'm testing it out with this feature, with that feature, with this scenario, with that scenario, this access and that access. And the reason for that is because it's a CCA that I'm going after. I already have a CCNP and service provider, so I already know the back end stuff. This is taking it to the next level. So what I decided to do in the last couple of days is I've been putting together a list of videos on Cisco Live. So CiscoLive.com, if you go to it, it allows you to, you log in and you create a user account and then you log in and you have access to your entire library of content, anything that's been put online for Cisco Live. So all the sessions, all the session presentations, the session videos, which is really helpful for someone like me because then you get somebody that most of the time, 95% or more percent of the time, you get somebody that works for Cisco in that business unit. So if you're studying MPLS, you're more than likely going to be getting somebody that works on service provider networks every day. So what I decided to do is I'm hitting topics that I'm not as familiar with. And like I said, this is just one resource that I'm using to help me understand what's going on. And the reason I did that is because the Cisco documentation, although well done and well read, or well written and well documented, I have a hard time understanding some of it. So, and I'll be the first person to tell you, I'm as much of a moron as the guy sitting next to you. So, I tend to downplay and say, okay, well, I don't get it. If it doesn't click right away with me, I'm like, okay, how do I work? How does this work? And so as soon as I start understanding something, I try to correlate it, if I can, to something else. So would this act similarly to this, kind of loosely analogous to this? And I don't have anybody to ask that question to. So there are some gentlemen that, or some speakers that do publish their contact information, which is great, but not all the time. So what I decided to do was I found a couple of, like you see this guy right here, where he is the BRK ARC, which is for architecture sessions. And then you have BRK SPG for service provider sessions. So you have all these guys. Then you have BRK DCT for data center technologies. Then you have IPM for, which is supposed to be IP multicast. And then you get MPL for MPLS. So a lot of what I'm doing now is I went through and I ordered them. This is like Rev 2 of the list. The first revision was putting all of the different sessions in a numerical order. So starting with the lowest number, regardless of what the track was, I went lowest number to highest number. Lowest number being the introductory sessions, intro to OSPF or intro to, segment routing or intro to layer 2 VPN. And then at the very bottom was advanced troubleshooting, or how to troubleshoot Lisp and things like that. So then I went back through and I ordered them and I grouped them into logical preparation order. So for instance, the one you're looking at now, it's a combination of architecture, MPLS, service provider, etc. And the idea here is to be hitting topics that are centric towards service provider. In this case, here I've got a lot of IP routing internals. How does iOS do its job? And then I've got a bunch of stuff that's platform specific or operating system specific. And this way here I can go through and I've got them ordered the way that I do so that I can sit there and when I go to the actual, and I'll show you how to navigate Cisco Live's website. It's actually really, really easy to do. I take the BRK ARC and I hit the enter key and then I scroll through and I simply open a new tab button, you typically middle mouse button to open up in a new tab. And what that does is I'm able to scroll through and just open up all the individual sessions that I want to go take a little deeper look at. So for instance, it says here, advanced troubleshooting on iOS 6 key features 2015 in Milan. All right, well, I'm not sure what that session is going to cover, so I expanded on it. So now what I get to do is there's typically a session presentation and a session video. So I clicked on the session presentation and that opens up a new tab where you can download the PDF slide deck of that. And then normally what I do is I'll have the video playing and I'll have the video playing and then I will also have the slide deck available to me, so I can be reading the slide deck and copying and pasting irrelevant information into here, and then adding notes in. So as the speaker's talking about a particular subject, the PowerPoint might have 4 or 5 bullet points, but he might have 2 or 3 minutes worth of additional detail on a couple of those bullet points. So I want to glean that information from that person and inject it into here. So what I'm going to be doing with this here is in the description of this video, I'm going to be putting a link to Dropbox, where this will be a text file that gets updated on a regular basis. So as I'm going through all these different sessions, and there's a lot of them, I'm going to be adding information to each one of these. And if I was to sit there and add up all the time and the hours that are in here, it's probably a lot. There's probably a couple hundred hours in here. That's just from the looks of it. You get, I think I have 135 lines, and the majority of these guys are 2-hour sessions, and not every one of them, but the majority of them are. We'll say 2/3 of them are 2-hour sessions. So you take 2 hours times 70 sessions. That's 140 hours. So that means I have to go through 140 hours of video, and you figure I'm not going to sit there and just watch it one continuous shot. I'm going to be pausing, taking notes. So normally, to give you an idea of the amount of time that it's going to take me to do it, in a 7-day, 24-hour period of time, there's 168 hours. So if I was to take that, so that's one solid week of doing nothing but watching videos. Well, you figure I can't do that. I've got to sleep, I've got to commute to and from work, I've got a family, I've got other responsibilities that I have to take care of. I'm still studying, whatnot. So a lot of this is going to be as I'm going through a particular section, I'm going to be hitting the content. I'm not just going to stop what I'm doing and hit this. So how I'm going to take this information here and utilize it for the future. For one thing right now, one of the things that I'm spending the majority of my time on is layer 2 VPN, right? So what I'll do is I'll take this eVPN and PBB eVPN, the next generation layer 2 VPN, and I will take this just like I did down here with segment routing, and I will listen to the speaker talk about the technology, and I will at the same point in time be taking notes. So I'm going to be taking notes and how they work and what the options are for that, and then that'll be my launching point. So that's one of the things that I'm doing right now. I'm also taking the documentation, and I'll be feeding that information in. And a lot of this stuff is going to be real high level. Now, one thing that you won't see in Cisco Live is you won't see any demonstrations. You won't see somebody jumping on the command line and configuring, VPC for Nexus. You won't see them configuring layer 3 VPN. They'll give you the commands for layer 3 VPN or VPC or what have you, but you won't actually configure it. They'll talk about the design, they'll talk about the way that it works, the architecture, things like that. They have dedicated sessions where I believe they're called the WISP labs, the walk-in self-paced labs, where you can go in there, and if you want to learn how Nexus works, you can go talk to a gentleman or a technical marketing engineer in that area and talk to them about it. Now, let me also be clear, I've never been to Cisco Live, so I'm just going based off of what I've heard on their live stream, people that I know that have been to Cisco Live have told me, so that's just hearsay. But I believe the people that have told me, so who am I to say that they're lying to me? So a lot of this stuff is going to be how I understand, going forward. So a lot of it's just understand how the architecture works and how it's going to drive the operating system and things like that. So again, a lot of this stuff is going to be understanding what it is that I need to study and going through and going out there and doing it. So now what I'm going to be doing for all of you is I'm going to be taking each one of these individual sessions and I'm going to be taking notes on them. So you are more than welcome to come back to this video or I think in Dropbox you can add a link or something along those lines. I'm sorry, that's in a different format. Sorry. You are more than welcome to come back to this video and check on the link in the description and go from there, and then that will allow you to download the latest update. Don't expect this to be done in a week. Don't expect this to be done in 2 months. It's going to take a lot longer than that. I'm expecting sometime near summertime I'll be done going through this. I have the expectation of about that time frame to go through and take the written exam. I'm hoping to go to Cisco Live in 2017, but it's still a ways out, and I have no idea what my options are going to be, come June of next year. So I have, it sounds farther away than it really is. It's only 6 months away, but at the end of the day, I'm not concerning myself with that. I've got a lot of stuff that's much closer to me than that, but I am going through, and I'm going to be going through the material as you can see here. It's going to take a long time to go through it, but I think that's going to really help me understand, you know, the driver behind why a lot of stuff is being done the way that it's being done. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going through this. Now, I want to also, there's quite a few comments that were left on my previous video that I did, and I want to address a couple of these. And like you guys have been really good about getting back to me on commenting and giving me updates. And the nice thing is I can comment back, and we can go back and forth, and I can find out exactly what it is you're trying to get out. So like if you're you're not understanding something, or you are trying to tell me that I talk too much, what have you. There's a certain individual who shall remain nameless that does not speak English as a first language. Um, I know not everybody speaks English as the first language, and I understand that. I try to talk slower, but it's just my nature, and so yeah. I don't want to say just deal with it, but that's me trying to be funny. No, I'm not trying to be mean, but um, let me see here. There was one question: from where do you get exams technology related documentation? Well, you can go download the blueprint from Cisco's website, and then you can start going through and looking up the individual components of that blueprint, whether that's the routing protocol, the switching technology, what have you. If you have a specific question, let me know. I can go through there and go. I'm actually getting a lot of requests for more designing and more troubleshooting. I am working on that. I'm not telling you guys a lot of what I've got going on or what I've got plans for, because the fact that I don't wanna, I don't wanna bait anybody with information and then come to find out, say 6 months later, I completely lost track of where I was going to go with that, and then I never fulfill what I told you guys I was going to go do. So I have a laundry list of things that I want to go do. I have a lot of really cool announcements in 2017 that are going to be coming out. A lot of cool stuff that I'm working on doing, and that will, like I said in the previous video, will pretty much redo how I'm doing things here on YouTube. And I've given that some thought. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing is YouTube is going to have some new playlists created as I go forward. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing as I go forward is YouTube will be geared to more of the let's focus on a high level of a particular topic. So we'll talk about OSPF, and I will give you guys a high level of, okay, for CCNA, study this. For CCNP, study this. For CCAE, study all of this. Stuff like that. And then I will be going through, I am planning on doing a Evolving Technologies course here on YouTube, and you guys can watch it at your leisure, as much or as little as you want. And because of the fact that it's evolving, I don't want to go out to INE and say, hey, I got this course idea. One thing that I have noticed about INE when it comes to production, whenever, like for instance, I finished up CCNP Service Provider. God, I stopped recording that like 2.5 months ago. At the time of this recording, it's December 26th. I stopped recording that back at the end of October, and I finished the exam a month ago, maybe, almost a month ago, 3 weeks maybe. And I understand that INE won't release the courses until the material's been released, or it's until I have the certification and they have the material. I get that. I just find that their post-production process, whatever that might be, it just seems to me it's slow. That's all. So I am working on some solutions to that, and but I'm not going to go any further than that. I don't want to set myself up to spill more beans than I'm planning on spilling. So there are some really cool things coming in 2017, and some stuff that I've been, some people that are close to me on the internet, some stuff that I've talked to with my wife, and some people that I have invested interest in whatnot, that are telling me that's a good idea for me to go do. So be patient. There are some really cool things coming in 2017, which is one of the reasons why my YouTube channel is going to be going the direction that it's going in, and I'm planning that this is you guys are gonna be like, dude, I love where you've gone with this thing. I mean, you guys are gonna be like, woot woot. I'm really excited about it, if you couldn't tell, and stuff is gonna be happening. It's gonna be really really cool when it does come out, and I think you guys are gonna be excited for it. But there's quite a few things that have to be figured out and ironed out and done before any of that can happen. Um, so a lot of this stuff is going to be coming in the near future. Um, one of the comments here, and I don't hold any malice or ill will towards anybody that comments on my channel, unless you're sitting there and you're flat out being vulgar or just nasty. I'm just going to delete your comment. Don't comment nasty. Be you know, be genuine, be humble, be polite. You'll be a lot you'll get a lot further with me and most people if you're, hey, I don't get this. Could you do this? Could you, can you help me out here? I try to get to as many people as I can, but just to give everybody an idea of where, from my perspective, I know everybody's like, ooh, help me, help me. I try, I really do. But to give you everybody an idea, on average, I receive 30 to 60 emails a day from just random people that I don't know. And on top of that, I've got, I don't, if I was to dedicate 3 to 5 minutes per email, I'm looking at, a few hours a day in just email alone. And I'm sorry, no, no offense to anybody, my full-time job is in training. I wish it was, but it's not. That's one of the things I'm working on. But there's a lot going on, and I don't have the time to dedicate to everybody. So you're better off commenting in the YouTube channel, and then I can get back to you, because then I can address multiple people at one time. So there's one comment in here. It's I don't call it the user, I'll call it the comment. It says the major issue is most of your videos are random, which is true. You can go technology-wise, like suppose you are covering OSPF and cover all the aspects required in CCNA, CCNP, and then CCIE. Also, please include some real-life networking scenarios. I'm glad you're a big fan and you like my approach to technology. I do appreciate that. And you're right, the videos have been random, and for a good reason. The reason why is just the fact that the majority of my content that I've produced so far has gone to INE. Whether that continues to be the case or not has yet to be determined. What everybody should know is, in the process of me doing this, I plan on doing a lot more technology-focused stuff and less on the certification. So, case in point, I'm planning on doing certification-specific courses. Absolutely. So, like for instance, I have the interest, ambition, and desire to record from, once I pass CCIE service provider, to do a full full route switch stack. So CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. Same thing for service provider. CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. I also plan on doing a lot of VMware content and go from there. How that moves forward from here on out, I don't know yet. I have some theories. I have some stuff that I'm working on, but I haven't figured that piece out yet. And when I do, and it's been figured out, and it's a go, then I will go ahead and make the announcement here. But until that day comes, I'm being sort of recluse on commentary. So I did promise you guys that I would show you CiscoLive.com, which I will do so here in just a moment. go ahead and pull up CiscoLive.com. So I am already logged in because I've been on Cisco Live website all day. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this guy over. So this is Cisco Live's website, and the cool thing about it is you don't have to have attended the actual Cisco Live in person, which is nice. I can go here as much as I want. So normally what I do, you log in, create an account, log in, etc. And then if you go to the upper right hand corner here, where it says Learn Online, and then you go down to OnDemand Library. This is usually where I go. Excuse me. Give that a second to load here. I don't know why it's going so slow. I must have something playing in the background. Okay, there it goes. It's just a little slow, which is alright. So basically, this is where you would come. Go ahead and zoom in just a little bit for you guys. This is where you would come if you wanted to go into more detail and find out some information. So for instance, for those of you that are route switch specific, so you can type in BRKRST, and what this is going to give you is a lot of routing and switching stuff. So typically speaking, if you are looking at, let's say you are someone that is new to routing and switching, you're CCNA, CCNP, and you're working to take that information deeper, you have these lower level classes, like for instance 2300. Anything like 1000 is going to be like, for those of you that have gone to school and understand like an intro to something. A 101 course is going to be like introduction to chemistry or introduction to OSPF, something along those lines. And then if you go to like 201, is going to be taking what you learned in 101 and expanding upon it. So you know how OSPF works, what it is, how it does its job, and now you're actually implementing it. 301 is going to be optimizing it. You're going to be doing multiple areas. You're going to be doing summarization, authentication, filtering. And then 401 would be troubleshooting it. If you can do all of that, then you are effectively ready to go ahead. And the 501 course, which would be doing any type of optimization from there. Maybe you're teaching it, something along those lines. Just to give you an idea of how that would work on the back end. So a lot of what you can do here, and I know you see a lot of the stuff is repetitive, you know, multi-home internet edge architecture for 2016. If you were to come up here to the top, you click on 2016 Las Vegas, and then this will help minimize the level you're going to be seeing them at. So we have BRKRST. So anything that might have to do with route switch, this will come into play. And a lot of the stuff you'll notice is some of it is lower level, some of it is not so low level, some of it is much deeper. So typically the title of the video is going to give you an idea as to what it is. So let's say, for instance, you want to know more about segment routing, which is a next gen to MPLS traffic engineering. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this, and then you would click on the session presentation, which automatically opens it up to this guy. Now I've already downloaded this PDF, so I'm not going to re-download it. But this is going to be the session PDF if you wanted to watch it. So now what I could do is I click download, and then it saves it to your computer locally. I would then close this guy out, and then you can click on the session video. If your network connections are strong enough to support streaming out video, excellent. If not, my best advice to you, if it's going to be jumpy, if you open the video up and let it start playing, excuse me, if you pause the video, walk away, grab a cup of coffee, use the restroom, come back 5 minutes later, it's going to download, and they're pretty quick to download. They're pretty good about their content capabilities, and then watch the video from there. That's what I plan on doing with this list right here, is doing all of that. So for instance, I will do this right here. I will grab this particular session, I will copy it into the live website, and I will go back to OnDemand Library, and then I will come up here and I will type that in, and voila, it brings this guy up. So now I'll click on here, and so I will get to listen to Jose Liste talk about PBB and EVPN. So then I would just click on the video, and then give that a couple seconds to load. It does, and so I'm going to if you notice on that little white bar at the bottom here, that will steadily download and go from there, and you'll be in good shape from that perspective on. Now, like I said, take 5 minutes, walk away, grab a cup of coffee, what have you, and then go from there. So what I plan on doing is we go back here, click on the session presentation, expand that out, middle mouse button to get the new tab, is let this download. I've got it loaded locally to my computer so I can pull it up in the Acrobat Reader for Adobe. And now I'm planning on going through, and as he is talking about a particular technology or what have you, I can go ahead and be taking notes on that specific thing. So I don't have to sit there and pause the video and rewind, pause, rewind, pause, rewind, and then go back through and try to understand everything. I can take in the slide information, and then I can just copy and paste that into Notepad, and then away you go. So I can take the note, the anything that he's talking about on the slide as trying to take two different topics and put the filler information to help glue the technology, the information together for me. That's where I'm going to focus my time. And then I'm going to go ahead and from there, I'll be able to take that information and run with it. So as he's going through here, what I will likely do is as he starts talking about what is EVPN, I'll pause what he's talking about. I'll copy and paste this information into Notepad, and then as he's going through and talking about it, I can be adding notes in above and beyond what's on the slide deck, and then I can take whatever he's saying and add into as my slides. That information is going to be saved to this text document that I'm creating, and then that will be in Dropbox, which I will save it to Dropbox whenever I do stuff, and then that will sync it with Dropbox, and then whatever you download will be the latest copy. So I won't have to do Rev 1, Rev 2, Rev 3, etc. That's what I'm planning on doing. So I have a lot of stuff that's going on and a lot of information that I'm planning on going through, and that's pretty much what's going on. I wanted to give everybody an update because I've been getting a lot of really good feedback, which is huge. I don't think you guys realize, or if you do, more power to you, that the more feedback I get from the YouTube community and social media in general, the better I can be when it comes to producing material. So as most of you can see, I do a lot of Cisco stuff. Cisco, route switch, service provider, etc. But it's not specifically centric to RNS or service provider. I'm planning on covering Lisp. I'm planning on covering VXLAN, IWAN, multi-point GRE. There's some unified MPLS, carrier supporting carrier. There's a lot of stuff that I'm hitting the blueprint for service provider on that I'm planning on producing content for in the future, and that's why the blog is there. I'll put a link to the blog in my site. If you click on the link in the description, that'll give you that information, and that'll definitely help you guys out long term. So you can go ahead and ask questions and post content and share it out if you'd like to try to help drive this thing. Because just remember, the more you guys talk about this YouTube channel, the more people that come here, the more people are going to get helped. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm doing this for. I'm not just sitting here talking because I have nothing else better to do with my time. And I'm trying to help as many people as I can, and YouTube is probably the best platform for me to do that on because YouTube is free. And like I mentioned, I plan on doing a Evolving Technologies course on YouTube that anybody that wants to watch it can watch it. I'm going to be starting to go through that material here very soon, creating the slides, and then go through and creating the material for that. But as we go forward, that's kind of the direction I'm planning on taking this. With some of that stuff, I'll be hitting some high-level topics as we go forward. Like what is Lisp, but I'll try to. I tend to over-explain things and oversimplify things, and then backfill as I go. So if I understand it really, really well, I can break it down to where anybody can understand it. And for those of you that are non-English speaking or English is not your first language, I do apologize. I try my best to slow down. But as you can see, I get really excited when I start talking about this stuff, and I can't help myself. I'm sure you guys get the same way. So I am working on that. And we'll go from there. I believe, and don't quote me on this, I believe there is a Settings. Oh yeah, yeah. So for those of you that are non-English speaking, to where English is not your first language, you can slow this down, right? So let me go ahead and bring this guy over here. So let me go ahead and let me join it to here. So here's the here is the latest video that I did, right? So I've got almost 300 views in one day, which is pretty good for me. If you were to click on right here, or this little settings key, now I don't know if that's for everybody everywhere, so your mileage may vary. Click on the settings, go to speed right here, and go to normal, and then drop that down to half speed. I will sound like I am drunk, or I can put two words together. I'm being facetious here, but that's going to be the speed, and then for 2017, figure it out and ready to go. I sound really, really weird when I sound like that. But that's what I think. If it was 3/4 speed, I think it'd be a little bit better. But I don't have. Oh, it does have closed caption. So use closed captioning if you can. Let me try that out. I can't stand listening to myself that slow. And then once everything is in place, I will. Okay, I didn't know there were subtitles. I learn something new every day. So you can do that if you'd like, and that should help you out. I try to accommodate as I can. So for those of you that are continuing to subscribe and continuing to watch, I do appreciate the support and the feedback and the continued support. And we'll see exactly how this plays out in the future. Until next time, guys, take it easy. Be safe. Have a good holiday time frame, whatever that might be. This is nearing the end of my little break here. But until next time, guys, take it easy.